Hello and welcome to the Clock and Talk, an Arsenal podcast, and we're covering, for fuck's sake.
Good job me and Schwinn are a lot more prepared than you, because if we came on and went, oh yeah, we didn't watch the game either, we was on the piss, it'd be a pretty shit podcast.
Well, Mesut Ozil is the best number 10 in the Premier League.
Yeah, that all looks good on paper, but there's never been a football match played on paper, so it's not really worth much.
I'm going to make a bold prediction that Jack Wilshere will sign for West Ham United.
It's time to start watching football with your eyes. I think people listen to what the commentator's saying and have that as their own opinion, but if you watch what's going on, you'll see things a lot clearer.
Schwinn, who do you think is going to win the Golden Boot?
I think Alexis Sanchez might do a number on that this year.
Okay. Tony talks about a clock being right twice a day. Tez is right every day. Try it from 5, lads. Fucking beauty. Hello and welcome back to the Clock and Talk, an Arsenal podcast. Thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. You can follow us at clockend_talk. We're also on Facebook and YouTube. Each and every week I'm joined by Tony and Schwinn, and we have them both this week. How are you, Tony?
I have been a hell of a lot better, but it's only football. Life is okay, football is shit. Just have to draw the boundary between the two sometimes.
Yeah, it's we'll get into it, but I'm trying to keep it a little bit upbeat and a bit positive. So for those who are thinking, oh fuck, this is going to be a big downer of a podcast, hang in there. Try and hang in there.
It is. He's lying to you. It definitely is.
Schwinn, how are you, buddy?
Want to be better. I'm trying to be better. I thought the results from the weekend would help us and maybe we could capitalize on it. Didn't happen. I thought the Game of Thrones episode was going to be better. Didn't happen. I thought I'd get Endgame tickets for the new Avengers movie. Didn't happen. So all in all, a pretty bad weekend.
You had to throw in a Game of fucking Thrones reference here, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's as big a part of my life right now as the Arsenal is. So yeah. And it pisses you two off, so that's always a plus point, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't see the hype of that show. I really don't.
Yeah, you got to watch it to believe the hype, mate.
No chance. Okay, let's get into this, boys. Tony, let's kick off with you with the lineup, mate. Thoughts when that came out?
Look, I praised Emery to the high hills on Thursday. I'm going to be the exact opposite today. I don't know why I do it. I remember I'd done it earlier in the season against Tottenham at home. I thought he was brilliant, and then he went on to have 3 weeks of being a complete cunt. So I've got to stop praising him, not because I don't want to praise him, but it seems to go to his head. I think he must listen. Look, El Neni Guendouzi's centre midfield is never ever going to work, ever. Should never happen. No, don't do it. Back 5 at home, no need. I think Watford play a bit similar to Palace, but they're better. And we went there away, which is obviously harder with a back 4. And a few days later, we go over back 5, which was weird. You look at the top end of the pitch, you go, you got Ozil, Lacazette and Aubameyang on the pitch. Even when the team news come out, I was with a friend and it was like, well, the front three's all right. Everything else is a bit, well, not a bit shit, a lot of shit. I've seen some people going, but it's rotation. Okay, so why has Koscielny played 270 minutes? He's our oldest of the defenders, and he's the one that's played every single minute.
I think Aubameyang's played, that'll be his 3rd game straight.
Yeah, Aubameyang's played every minute. It's fucking chaos. This. Look, you can make excuses if you want to make excuses, which most people seem to want to do. But look, as you all know, if I see something and I think it's wrong, I'm going to say it, and I think the lineup was shit.
Before we go to Schwinn, so Janko, El Neni, Guendouzi, who would you be having there?
Look, I would have gone back 4, okay. And then you can get that extra body in the middle if you need to, or you can play Mickey. There's so many other options. Ainsley played 20 minutes, probably not even 20 minutes at Watford, 90 minutes the other day, but it wasn't the most stressful game. The game was done after an hour the other day, so it's not like that should have taken a lot of gas out of the tank, so to speak. So I'm amazed Ainsley didn't play. And another thing that's been annoying me, people going, oh yeah, but Emery didn't sign these players, like, so you can't blame him. Okay, so or they weren't Emery players, they were here before Emery. Okay, play Lichtsteiner then. He was there. He chose to play Jenkinson. You can blame Jenkinson all you want, and to be honest, I don't think he really done much wrong. He's obviously not a very good player, but he didn't do much wrong. But it's a choice. There was other options. There were two other options. He could have played Maitland-Niles. He could have played Lichtsteiner, who was, in brackets, his own signing, but he chose not to. So at some point, you've got to stop just blaming these players when there is other options. The midfield is a bit harder. I mean, I'm not sure if Torreira has been carrying a knock. It's been reported. To be honest, I was actually quite surprised he didn't play Maitland-Niles in the middle. When I saw Guendouzi Elneny straight away, I was like, well, if he's playing Jenko out wide, I would have expected Maitland-Niles to be playing in the middle, but you could have used Torreira. As I said, they could have got the extra body. If you've got an extra body, if you play forward at the back, and if you know your midfield two is weak, get an extra man in there. I just think everything from the players he selected, the decisions he made, the formation or the shape, however you want to label it, was all wrong.
And obviously, as you boys know, I'm a big Granite fan, and when I don't see him in the team, I head straight to his Instagram or somewhere, his Facebook, and have a look and find out, because he'll usually say, a little niggling injury or something, but I don't think I've seen anything where he...
I was reported he was injured during the week, to be fair.
Oh, was it? Okay, righto. Okay, because I didn't see it, so I was like, oh.
Even Arsenal tweeted that he's missing out due to a strain.
Yeah, I don't believe them, mate.
Why do you think they'd lie?
Look, how many times has Ozil had a bloody stomach bug? I just don't believe
those are two completely independent events, though.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but sometimes I think it's just to please the fans that they might throw a tweet out.
Why would they lie about something like that? I don't understand. He's obviously an integral part of the squad,
you're saying you don't know
right?
what the reason is? Mate, I don't know. I don't know. Why would they lie about something like that? Maybe, look, you could draw in a conspiracy that maybe him and Emery aren't getting on. I don't know. And that's the reason I don't know, and I don't believe when they tweet stuff about players, because I think to myself, well, I've seen it so many times with Ozil coming out where he's got a stomach bug, or this player's carrying a little knock, or this player's was taken off for this reason, and I think I just don't buy into that no more.
That theory has a bit more water to it, because in the previous international break, some quotes came out, right? I don't know how accurate they were. That Granit said that this is not his last stop, and ever since then, he's picked up an injury, or as you say, it could be a conspiracy theory, but so it's believable. However, with Ramsey being out, you'd imagine Emery sort of gives up his ego and gives up this kerfuffle. But yeah, it's also possible that he doesn't, and he continues to isolate Granit. But to me, it's an injury, so I guess it's a factor of different strokes.
Yeah, I just think since he mentioned that on his, this isn't my last stop or something, I just get the feeling that he has been a little bit on the outer.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but anyway. Your thoughts on the lineup, buddy?
Similar to Tony. Of course, with a bit of hindsight, and I'm sure Tony also saw the game, and is reflecting on the lineup with a bit of hindsight. I didn't mind the back five per se, but as Tony very well spoke about, the midfield, when Guendouzi and Elneny are proper makeshift central midfielders for this team, with the first three choices in that area being Granit, Ramsey, and Torreira in whichever order, then you would expect him to add another body in there to solidify things, to give us a bit more control. And that never happened. With the formation we started, it made sense to switch to a back four and throw an extra body in midfield. Maybe Niles was someone who could have been in that situation. Maybe Emery wanted to rest Niles, and that's why he didn't start him as a right wing back. But if you're starting with that back five, then you'd imagine us giving away a bit more possession, letting Palace have the ball, which is not something they enjoy a lot. And we never did that. We kept the ball. We kept it shuffling from side to side in a very slow manner. And no one was really in central areas. Guendouzi and Elneny both took very wide positions, with the wing backs completely up the field, and that basically left Mesut Ozil either having to drop back to collect the ball or just being isolated in the middle of the park, between the lines. Lacazette tried again to combine, to link up, but all in all, it was a very, very weird lineup considering the way we played. I thought if with the same lineup we could have played a different way and maybe got a bit more out of it, especially in the first half when we were very, very poor. But it just never happened. So, look, I'm not going to sit here and bash Emery. I think the bigger point here is to look at how we have bounced back or not after certain very good displays. And that's exactly what Tony spoke about right now, that we talk about the flexibility of the manager and give him props for that. But what's the point of all this flexibility when having used systems that worked just a few days before we chop and change it up all in the name of rotation or in the name of injuries and just are unable to even play our game, let alone get the result? So, that's I think the essence of why we have criticized Emery. We're not trying to say Emery out here, but I think there's obvious questions that need to be answered. And in certain cases, just like yesterday, Emery just doesn't seem to help himself.
I just want to, before we tackle into this game now, since I got your thoughts on the lineups, because I've been talking to a few Arsenal fans myself today, and I take everybody's had a look. So Chelsea play Burnley tomorrow morning our time. It's probably today your time, Tony, or something, I don't know. But that's their 35th game. So if they beat Burnley, they've played one more game than Arsenal. We are level with them on 66 points. Look, this is a game that, that could have put us up in front, possibly in front of Tottenham, actually. So, so don't all panic at once, because they do have... That does put them up one more game than us. So I'm still a little bit confident. And a few weeks ago, we did speak about how many points will it take to get to top four. I think me and you, Tony, or we all pretty much said 12 points. So that, for me, is our 12 points. Anything from here on in, I'm fucking panicking. Wolves coming up as well. I'm actually panicking about that one.
Well, that's the issue. If we lose to Wolves, then we have to win all three of our remaining games to hit them 12 points.
Yeah, that's a big worry, that one, Wolves. Even Leicester's a big worry, to be honest. Okay, Tony, they came out, and I always talk about our first 15 minutes. I thought we came out pretty strong in the first 15.
I don't know. It's not... We didn't stamp any authority on the game. I don't think we've really done anything. I forgot to say this earlier. I've not watched any highlights or anything back, so I've only seen what I saw at the game. So there's some decisions that may have been fouls that I didn't see, or I've not seen as clear as everyone listening and whatnot. But I think sometimes you can be 0-0 inside 10-15 minutes, but you can stamp your authority on the game, and we didn't do that. I think, as Schwinn mentioned, and everyone knew was going to happen, that Ozil had to continuously drop deep because Elneny and Guendouzi aren't up to the job, and it just left the gap between the midfield and Lacazette and Aubameyang huge, made it very difficult to do anything. Kolasinac, he knew from minute one he didn't have the beating of Wan-Bissaka, and it stifled us massively because our only game plan seemingly was get it down to the wing and cut it back, pretty much. And if Kolasinac doesn't have the confidence to go past or get beyond Wan-Bissaka, then you've taken out your whole game plan, especially when you've got Jenkinson playing on the other side.
Look, I think it was probably the first... you boys might fresh. Might have been the first 5 minutes. I think there was a chance with Ozil for a shot. I don't know if that was really on target, though, but I thought it was a pretty good chance.
On target.
I don't know. It was on target. I didn't know what it went on the stats. So. Not taking anything away from him, but I just thought that's where I was thinking that first 15 minutes when we came out. What could have been, would have been, should have been, didn't. So, talk us through the obviously Benteke 17th minute, Schwinn.
I mean, the amount of times we gave away silly fouls yesterday was was so frustrating. There were times other than that incident, particularly in the second half, late in the game, when we need the ball, we need to play well, manage the game well, and Kolasinac is just bundling players over out of pure frustration. And it all started at this incident when we gave away a cheap free kick. And our set-piece defending yesterday was atrocious. It was schoolboy defending. Every time they had an opportunity, a team like Palace is going to rely on two things: counter-attacking football and set-pieces. And they have the physicality and the height to do that. All their center-backs, even some of their midfielders, are good in the air based on one thing or the other. And someone who hasn't scored in over a year, 19 games of Premier League football, has managed to end his drought, which is so stereotypically Arsenal. You have a problem in scoring, well, go on circle whenever you play Arsenal in the calendar, and that's when you beat your drought. So very textbook. We've seen it before, happen before, and we just made it so much easier for Benteke to get ahead on it. And still, he only managed to hit the target right at Leno, who just couldn't get a strong enough hand to it, unfortunately. Just a trailer for what else was supposed to come during the day, I suppose.
I should mention, though, you didn't mention it, that was on the back of Mafropanos' yellow card, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think kick. So. I don't quite remember, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, Tony, and let's go on there, because he came off at half-time. Yellow card, you probably at that time we were 1-0 down at half-time. He's on a yellow, you got to take him off, but was he as good as... I don't want to write, I don't want to shit all over the kid, but it's just stupid.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very, very stupid foul, and had certain other players done it, we'd be on their case. He's still getting away with, but he's young, but he's inexperienced. He was poor at Watford. He wasn't bad yesterday, but that one decision that didn't need to happen. Benteke's never going to outrun him. All we needed to do was get goal side. We was actually sitting in the stands shouting goal side, goal side. Just get goal side, stand him up, then Benteke is going to cause you no damage. For some reason, he didn't get goal side. He wanted to stand behind him, try and win the ball. He's got to accept that you can't always win the ball. He nearly conceded, cost us a goal against Watford, where he tried to dive in on Andre Gray when the ball was the wrong side, and he was just never going to get there. Just defend first. The first job is to defend your goal. The second job is to get the ball. He's got his priorities the wrong way around. So it was just a sheerly silly foul to give away. And as I said, horrendous defending from the set piece. And he probably wasn't, well, at that stage, was he the worst of the back three? Arguably. Yes, arguably no. You could argue Mustafi was worse. But one was on a booking, one wasn't. One has played about 100 minutes this season. The other one is a World Cup winner, if you want to fucking put the balance that way. So the substitution was understandable. I think it's probably about the only one that was.
I don't want to harp too much on this goal, but do you put that down to Mustafi, that when on the set piece? Or because people were talking about El Neni as well, but I didn't remember El Neni. They said he was just standing in the middle of the pitch.
Look, the foul is ridiculous. You can't blame anyone else for that. In terms of the ball, I've not seen it from who played them all onside and whatnot. I've seen people blaming Mustafi and Jenkinson, but I've only seen it. The replays they show in the ground, they never show the offside line in case it's a little bit contentious and whatever, so they just show it from a natural angle. So I've obviously seen Benteke stand in a world of space, headering it in, and the replay basically showed the same thing, but I'm not sure who dropped in or who didn't track their man.
Okay, Schwinn, talk us through the rest of the first half, mate. Not much more, is there?
Yeah, not much more. Just a lot of noise, just like what we can hear on your end right now. A lot of possession.
That's why I was very quick to tell you that, because it is absolutely pissing down rain here again.
And we were pissing all over the field yesterday, so there you go. You just completed my metaphor for me. But, I mean, it was also flat. As a spectator, I don't feel optimistic a lot when things like that happen, when you're enjoying ball possession, in quantity but not in quality. But yesterday I had a different feeling. I thought maybe with time you'll be able to find lanes. Palace were working extremely hard, particularly down their right-hand side. And I thought Wan-Bissaka had an amazing, amazing game. But I kept asking myself, how long can they sustain this? How long will they be able to occupy positions that strangulate us and relegate us to areas where we're unable to do anything from? But at the end of the day, they continued frustrating us. And as their work rate slowed down into the second half, our sort of steam went out. So there's really not a whole lot that comes to mind all of a sudden right now that I feel I should talk about, unless I'm obviously glossing over some obvious opportunity.
Tony, you talked about the substitutions before, obviously before we started recording here. Jenko went off, Iwobi came on. Look, we went into half-time in the Sheds at 1-0. Maitland-Niles came on. I see his point that, okay, I've got to do something. We're 1-0 down against Palace. We really need to win this game. However, as you said, why aren't we starting these players? I don't know if I like a substitution at half-time. And he's done that a few times.
Yeah, look, I mean, earlier in the season when he was doing it, everyone was praising him for being bold and making the changes. And I was sitting here criticising him for getting it wrong from the start. And I've not budged on that point. Look, fair enough that he recognises his mistakes and he does make the changes, but I would rather not make the mistakes in the first place. I've got a box of plasters in the cabinet, but I'd rather not cut myself. And that's he's cutting himself every week, but he's got big bandages.
Well, we said we agree with the Mafropanos. We understand that substitution because you're 1-0 down. You don't want to risk another yellow, and he seems to hack a lot, Mafropanos. But the Jenko for Iwobi, like as you said, the Jenko, he wasn't good, but he wasn't that bad either. So, would you ask for an Iwobi at halftime?
No, I mean, look, we had to get more attacking players on the pitch. So going to a back four was the right decision. Look, for me, Ainsley was probably our best player in the second half. But had Jenko done enough wrong to warrant him be taken off? Was Ainsley going to change the game more than, say, a Mkhitaryan? You look at our subs, and we were losing when we made all of our subs. All three subs were when we was in losing positions, and two of them were defensive subs. Like, I know we're only talking about two at the moment.
Yeah.
But if you look at them on a whole, I thought one was obvious, as in, if you take it as he's taken Mavropanos off for Iwobi, that's an obvious substitution. And this is not anything against Ainsley, because as I said, I thought he was our best player in the second half, but I thought it was unnecessary.
You thought it was unnecessary to bring Ainsley on or Mafropanos off?
No, Ainsley on.
Who would you have swapped that for?
That's the issue. Was a change at right back needed? When you're 1-0 down, do you need a straight swap at right back? And when that means you can't bring an attacking player on later in the game?
Well, I think it was obviously for the yellow card that he got earlier in the.
No, I'm saying if you go Mavropanos for Iwobi, that was the sub. So that's fair enough. There's no argument there. Yeah, Jenko wasn't on the yellow.
But like for like substitution, you're like, not really. I'm with it. Okay, talk us through the Ozil game, or does Schwinn want to fucking have a little wank over that one?
Go on, Schwinn.
I mean, there's just really nothing over to wank. We've seen that before. Lovely reverse ball by Lacazette, of course, and I think that's the toughest angle I've seen Mesut finish that from. Bournemouth was something similar, but here you could, if you had to bet, you'd say he's going to pull it back into the box, into the danger area, and try and find Lacazette or Aubameyang, who were both charging in. Great finish, lovely time to score it. It just put us back in the reckoning for potential result. You expect it from him. He doesn't obviously make the team sheet quite often, but you expect him to get into dangerous positions to assist goals, and he has really been able to get into positions to score this season for the amount of times he's played. So happy for him, but wasn't really worth anything at the end of the day, was it?
I thought it was a good goal. I was happy. Your beauty was going up 1-0. The one thing I want to ask you though, and Tony, you can mention this if you want as well, but Schwinn, I seen a lot of Arsenal fans at that point going, "Oh yes, Iwobi and Maitland-Niles came on. Yes, we got a goal." I just refresh my memory. Did they actually have anything to do with that goal?
Iwobi did. Iwobi, of course, was on the running down the left side, and I think he was being harassed by two players, and he just found a small window to find Lacazette. And I think a bit of credit has to be given to Lacazette as well. I don't think the pass itself was great, or is as great as people are making out to be. I think the weight on the pass is what is so crucial, because it allows Mesut to turn without touching the ball. And as soon as Mesut has completed his turn, he has complete control of the ball. It's not running away from him. A little bit more or a little bit less on the ball, and it makes for an extra touch essentially, which could completely destroy the chance at the end of the day. So, I sort of disagree with the Niles change, as you depending on what you guys said. I think it was needed. I think you could argue that maybe we could have waited 10 minutes and seen how Jenkinson was going to do in a back four. But as Tony said at the top of the show, Kolasinac knew very early on he's not going to get the better of Wan-Bissaka, and we needed to rely on another fullback down the right-hand side. Jenkinson in the back five was just not good enough yesterday. Nothing against him, but he just doesn't have it in him against a tough Palace side. Maybe in a back four he could have contributed a bit more, but Emery never saw that as a possibility and brought on Maitland-Niles, who didn't play a direct role in this goal, but as Tony said, he was probably our best player in the second half, with Leno being a close second for me. So I don't mind those two substitutions, but there should never be a need for that in my mind as well.
Okay, mate, Tony, he's copped a lot of criticism. Zaha goal, we're up to 61st minute, and I have seen Twitter light up today with Mustafi.
It should do. That is absolutely unforgivable. I've seen a lot of people say this. He does whatever he can to absolve himself of responsibility in all situations. So that's why he dives in, because it's like, I'm out the game. I either win the ball or I don't, and it's I'm out the game. Or like what he done yesterday is how he can have the cheek to blame Leno. And I know a lot of people are like, Leno's world class, blah blah blah. So they wouldn't blame him even if it was his fault. But it completely wasn't. Like, just do your job, play the ball, smash it out for a throw-in if you have to. He had so many options. He could have just played it out. He could have carried on running with the ball. He was ahead of Zaha. He wouldn't have been caught. Even trying to block him off, he moved out of the way. Like, it's at that point. I'm not saying he is, but if someone said to me someone had paid him, like he'd been match fixing, I wouldn't be like, oh fucking hell, I'm not surprised with that one incident. Mm-hmm. Like, and again, I'm not saying he is, but that was so bad.
It's terrible, wasn't it?
It wouldn't surprise me if someone said he'd been paid off.
No, it was fucking worth. I actually, funny enough though, you bring it up about the Leno. Is it Leno's fault, Mustafi side? Because I can't remember who it was at the end of the game. They were discussing the obviously the goals and the highlights and different things, and he just. I apologise, I can't remember his name, but he was talking about the ball ended up in this is his quote was, the ball ended up in no man's land, and Zaha capitalised on it. Was it a Leno should have came out, or should Mustafi have gone and played for it a bit more? For me, it was a Mustafi fault, not a Leno fault. I don't.
It's not even a question.
Yeah, I don't.
Not even a question.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how they. I don't know. I thought, am I saying something different? But so you agree with Mustafi, not Leno? I don't know what to fucking do. This Mustafi, he's a pain in the ass. But the last three games, he hasn't been too bad. I think last week we actually against, was it Napoli? Watford was it that we actually said he's been playing well. But then he comes out with these fucking moments, and you think, fuck me, like, you useless cunt. Like, how the fuck could you fuck that up? I just don't get it. Zaha's quick, but fuck me dead. Get yourself in a position. Like, anyway.
The thing is, you put your body there, Zaha runs into your back, you get the foul. You play the ball out, they get a throw on. Like, you run with the ball, you take it wide. Even if you lose it wide. There is so many options. The only option you can't take there is to leave the fucking ball.
Leave it there.
He even looked at Leno.
Yeah, he looked at him and went, "Oh, fuck, you coming out, mate?" Or, "Oh, fuck, am I got to do my job? Do I actually got to do my job because they pay me to fucking do it?"
He absorbed himself as responsibility.
Yeah. On that alone, are you because I did see this hashtag Mustafi out going today. Are you? Oh, and obviously, I know you're not you're not the biggest fan, but we also are weak in other positions on the field. Are you like on that? I want Mustafi sold in the summer.
I always have been, because you can't trust him. He can look. He's had good games for us, and people don't want to see it because they dislike him. Yeah. But he has had good games for us. But you cannot trust him. It's as simple as that. So especially in that sort of position, like, look at the amount of shit Ozil gets because you can't trust him. As in, you never know what Ozil's going to turn up, to use the expression everyone uses. That doesn't cost you games. When Mustafi, who you can't trust, it costs you games every time, or costs you goals every single time. And so for me, you can't have that in the team.
I agree. You want to add anything on all of that, Schwinn, or you want to move on?
No, we've discussed this over and over again, so nothing's changed. It's that still that one brain fart moment that ends up costing us the game. So regular duty resumes, I suppose.
Okay, well, you can discuss. I'll go to you. So I don't remember it. Ozil, yellow card. Guendouzi, yellow card. I'm struggling on that one as well. And then we'll go up to Tuera Elneny. Was a substitution on the 68th minute. And then MacArthur, he scored the third goal for Crystal Palace in the 69th minute.
Again, horrible defending from the set piece. Just couldn't win any aerial battles yesterday. Which, when you have Dinos in the team, who's of course big and strong, Koscielny's decent in the air, and Mustafi isn't a slouch in the air, but of course Palace overwhelmed us in terms of their physicality. But more than that, once the first header is knocked into the dangerous area close to MacArthur, Kolasinac, I think in particular, was very slow to get off the line. I saw a replay for this just this morning, and MacArthur should have been offside. He wasn't. That goal should stand as it is. But if Kolasinac was a bit more attentive in clearing his lines and getting out of the area, that goal could have been offside. I think this is as good as the time as any to speak about the officiating, which I thought was very, very bad on the day. Every time I watch John Moss now, I just hear Tony in the back of my head saying he's not fit enough. He's not fit enough. And yesterday, I think, was a perfect encapsulation of that. He missed so many fouls. He gave up silly fouls when you could see he's huffing and puffing for air. We had 3 decent penalty shouts yesterday. The one-on-one Bissaka early in the first half, I think, is a clear penalty for me. His arms are not in a natural position, and for me, there's no reason you shouldn't give that as a penalty. The other 2, I think, are still a bit more debatable. But we didn't help ourselves. The officiating was bad, and that goal was the final dagger into the chest.
Tony, fuck, you're obviously thinking in the ground. I could imagine what you're fucking saying. But then, you get one, Bamiyang gets one in the 77th, 2-3.
We've just before, we glossed over the Torreira substitution.
Oh, yeah, go on that.
We're 2-1 down. They have been causing us trouble from set pieces all day. So defensively, we can't deal with set pieces. Offensively, we need a goal. He brings on a 5'5" defensive midfielder. I know El Neni is shit. I am a fully paid up member of the El Neni is shit club. I've paid a 10-year membership. That it ain't going anywhere. But come on. Even if you're going to take El Neni off, bring fucking Mkhitaryan on. As soon as we made the sub at half time and went to a back 4, Aubameyang went on the right. Didn't have any effect. So then when we scored to make it 1-1, him and Iwobi swapped to get Aubameyang on the left. Still didn't really have any effect. And we were sitting in the ground saying, bring Mkhitaryan on so you can get Aubameyang and Lacazette up top where they're both at their most dangerous. No. And we continue game, and I know the goal we're going to come on to, Aubameyang scored from the right, but that was possibly his only touch. Like, his only touch of the ball in the area, I think, was the goal, because he was playing on the wing. We needed a goal with 2-1 down and then 3-1 down, and at no point did he go, I know what we need to do, but get our top goal scorer in the area.
It's also not a goal that you expect Aubameyang to score week in, week out. It was a mixture of pure brilliance and also a bit of luck at the end of that touch. So it's not as if that putting Aubameyang on the right always pays dividends, and just because it did yesterday, it will in the future as well.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever worked, to be honest. And I agree with you. The only reason I didn't say that is because you're going to get people go, oh, he scored from the right. But it happened. That's not a symptom of him being on the right. I don't think he's ever played well there. So I think the Torreira substitution was absolutely brain dead. And then again, even so, at 3-1 or 2-1, don't get our best goal scorer in the box. At 3-2, still keep him on the wing. Don't get our best goal scorer in the box. It's just comical.
Okay, so the Aubameyang goal came on, and then
Before we move on, Taz,
I'm trying to push through. We've got 40 minutes, and we've got a heap of questions. I'm thinking, hey, come on, right, I go.
But how's that optimism coming along?
Yeah, I'll touch on that. So, let's just get through this fucking game. Look, we go up 2-3. At any point did you boys and let's wrap this up and then give us our man of the match. On the 77th minute, Aubameyang scores. It gets 2-3. What is there left? 18 minutes or something. At any point for that last half of the second half, did you think we're going to at least level this game, Tony?
I think you can always tell when a team's going to get one more chance, and I knew we would get one more big chance. Who that fell to and whether that went in, you're never going to know. And it fell to Iwobi and it didn't go in. But you can always tell when a team, like even at 3-1, I just kept saying, like, I thought the game was done, to be honest, but I always say get one and see if they shit themselves. I always think that when we're 2-0 down, or even when we're 2-0 up, and I think if the other team get one, we're going to shit ourselves. That's just always the way I think. So when we got that goal, you know they're going to drop back a little bit. They're going to be a little bit more tentative. And that always leads to a lot of the ball, which usually leads to a chance. So I expected, as I said, one more big chance, which came and came and went, to be honest.
Schwinn?
Similar, absolutely. I mean, when we conceded the third goal, I thought there's still a chance to level this up, maybe even win. Maybe I was being overtly optimistic in that sense, but I saw that there was enough quality on the pitch to hurt them. And as, of course, time passed, it was getting tougher and tougher. I wonder if we got that Aubameyang goal 10 minutes before we actually did, whether we, would have been given a bigger boost in the sense to be able to pull off something miraculous. But as Tony said, that big chance at the end fell to the wrong person. The last person it should have fallen to, and he completely fluffed his lines.
Well, that's a problem with Iwobi. He just can't fucking finish. Mate, if he was hanging by the nuts, he couldn't fucking. He wouldn't finish it. That's what pisses me off with him.
I mean, I'm pretty sure being hung by the nuts wouldn't help you finish.
But
where'd you come up with these?
He just can't finish the bloke. Like he just, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he shits me. He pisses me off. Okay, I'm going to do something different because man of the match. Okay, I'm pretty sure you're on Maitland-Niles, Tony. I'm going to go for your best and your worst on the day.
What? Lacazette played, didn't he? So he obviously was a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, okay. So Lacazette was your best.
Just at virtue of him being at Arsenal Football Club, whether he plays or not, he's a 10 out of 10.
Mate, they could roll him out in a wheelchair and stick him on the sideline. He'd be a 10 out of a 10.
Exactly.
Someone's looking for trouble on Twitter today.
It's a bank holiday. I've got all day. No, best. So look, best overall performance.
Yep.
I literally will probably go to Maitland-Niles, who played 45 minutes. Worst? You've got to go Mustafi. He's cost us the game. As I said, I'm led to believe it was him that let Benteke go for the first. I've got to say, I've not seen it. So if I'm wrong, blame everyone else.
I have to have a look at that.
And then the second goal is completely his fault. And he's cost us the game. Even if one of them things doesn't happen, you get a point. So you've got to go, he was the worst on the day. And best on the day, as I said, I don't really think there's anyone, but I thought Ainsley was good in the second half. And I don't think I could say anyone else was good, to be honest.
Schwinn, you going to agree?
Yeah, I mean, Niles was very, very good in the second half, no doubt. I just like to give a shout to Leno. I thought he made, I think, 1 or 2 crucial saves in the first half, and again, a few crucial saves in the second half, just to keep the scoreline respectable. Could have conceded 4 or 5 on the day if it weren't for him. But Niles, of course, second half, he gave us a lot more, especially, going forward, because that side was completely dead in the first half. And the worst is inarguable. It has to be Mustafi. I think he definitely was the one who let Benteke run away. He then let Zaha run away even more easily. No question. Has to be him. Special shout out to Mohamed El Neni for doing absolutely nothing on the day as well.
Yeah, look, I've got to agree with you boys. It's very hard to go past them. But I'm going to shit all over Guendouzi. For me, every man and his fucking dog in the Arsenal fan base were having the biggest fucking wank over Guendouzi. Oh, we signed this kid for $7 million or whatever. He's the future star. That may be the case. Okay, I'm not doubting that. He may be a future star, but he's not a fucking star right now. And we continue to roll him out, and he continues to do fuck all. And I've had an absolute gutful of the fucking Guendouzi fucking brigade saying that he's fit to play for the Arsenal. I just, maybe another year, 2 years down the track, the kid needs to go out on loan and he needs to learn. He knows how to play football, but he just needs experience. And I know El Neni beside him isn't helping because, don't get me fucking started on that lad. But I'm like you, Tony. I've paid my fucking El Neni fees, and look, but he's there. He's at the Arsenal. He's going to stay, and I can't see us ever getting rid of El Neni, to be honest, because they see him as a squad player, and he can pop in these matches when we need him to. But I think we need an overhaul of our midfield. We have Torreira and Granit there, and if they're not going to play, we need 2 more midfielders, and I know it won't happen, who are up to the plate and who we can rely on these games against teams like Crystal Palace. Who else have we fucked up against where these two are started? But we just haven't got that depth. And Guendouzi and El Neni, for me, they're not the answer. El Neni, fuck off to wherever you got to go. Guendouzi, go out on loan, learn the fucking a bit of experience and come back in a year or 2 and be a superstar. But at the moment, nah. These games are too crucial for players like Guendouzi to fucking pass the ball side to side, round and round, back and forth, and then do fuck all. On the other hand, though, I will discuss what Schwinn was getting at before. Look, I seen, and Tony said he didn't really see much of it, but I don't know if you were really looking at it too. The Arsenal forums and whatnot were saying El Neni had a complete and utter fucking shocker yesterday. And look, I understand everybody's frustration. For me, though, if I had to put myself in his shoes.
You mean Emery, right? Before you go on.
Emery, sorry. What did I say? El Neni. Okay. I'll get El Neni on the fucking brain. See what that cunt does to you? That's why he gets on the team sheet. Emery, so I see people talking about Emery and saying, he fucking had a shocker yesterday. And I thought to myself, yes, okay, he did have a shocker, but I'm trying to find a positive on it a little bit, Tony. And I'm thinking, you're in the Europa League, you're gunning for the top 4, you've got a bunch of players who are showing signs of fatigue, I feel, who, they've played lots of minutes over the last week or 2. You've got Guendouzi and El Neni who are making the team sheet over, okay, Granit was injured, I didn't realise that, Torreira, and I think to myself, should we just give Emery a little bit of slack? I'd hate to be in that position.
Well, look, this is, even when the team sheet came out, and I said this to like a few random people at the ground yesterday that I didn't really know. You'd imagine at full strength we beat Palace at home. You would say 90% of the time.
Yeah.
At full strength, we go to Wolves away. You would say we win maybe 50% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Get the fucking points on the board. Because like he's tried to be clever and thought, I'll try and steal a win against Palace and then we can go full strength against Wolves and we might win there as well. Get the fucking points on the board. Because as I said, if we needed 9 points from the last 5 games, which is what pretty much seems to be everyone universally thinks. You get your 3 against Palace at full strength. You get your 3 against Brighton at home, and then you need you've got Leicester, Burnley, and Wolves. You need 3 points, so 3 draws will do, or obviously 1 win. Now the way he's done it, if we lose to Wolves, it is fucking catastrophic for our season. And I'm already predicting people are going to come up, but you would have jumped to be at this position at the start of the season. Yes, I would have. But that doesn't mean he can get away with it. Like, you can't just go, but we didn't expect to be here, so just ease off and don't criticise him. If we're 8-0 up against Barcelona with 1 minute to go, but I expected us to lose before the game, if we lose 9-8, I'm not sitting here going, I didn't expect to win. I'm fucking furious about it. And that's exactly how I feel about yesterday and what could continue. Because I feel he just got it bang wrong. He's tried to steal the win, but go out and get there, put the points on the board. And you never know, with a bit of confidence, you can go to Wolves and maybe nick a draw or nick a win. And then suddenly you're in a better position than you thought you was.
I see your point. I do see that. I don't know if he did much homework on Crystal Palace. And the reason I say that is because, keep in mind, now they beat Manchester City 3-2. I can't remember, they were away. Now I can't remember if City had a strong squad or not. They also drew against Man United. Okay, people are going to say, but come on, Tez, it's Man United. But they drew against them, right? Away. And there was one other big... they beat Tottenham. They were at home, 2-0. So...
I was in the FA Cup there.
FA Cup, yeah, okay. So, but like, did he underestimate this Crystal Palace team?
They also only lost 4-3 at Anfield as well. Look, as I said, he's tried to nick a win, and if it comes off, it's genius. But I don't think you should be trying things at this stage of the season. As I said, if you win there, you can kind of bomb the Wolves game off and go weak at Wolves, because there's no guarantee you're going to win with a full strength team anyway. I just think he's got it completely wrong. And as I said, everyone's defence of him is, but you didn't expect to be here. Okay, fuck it, give up. Stop, don't play the rest of the games, because we'd still finish 6th, and that was probably about where we expected. So fuck it, just take the rest of the season off. Save everyone the money from save everyone the time of having to get up and watch them on TV at 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever stupidness time you have to get up.
Yeah.
Fuck it, don't matter.
I know, it's fucking shit. Tell me.
And the other thing that's really annoying is that people are going, but the Europa League's on. Well, to win the Europa League now, we've got to win at least 2 games, probably 3, against good quality opposition, Valencia, and then either Chelsea or Frankfurt. Whereas to get Europa League, to get the Champions League via the league, we'd have had to win 3 games against, as I said, Palace, Wolves, Burnley, Brighton, Leicester. Winning 3 of them games is much easier than winning 3 games against Chelsea, Frankfurt, or Valencia. So he's now, for me, fucked up the easier route as well.
Yeah, because I was talking to a couple of Chelsea fans today, and they said, Tez, what looks like you guys are going for the Europa League. And I said, I don't know about that. I think it was just a complete fuck-up, because this way to get top 4 was always going to be easier at the Europa League. As we said, I don't think, as you just said, the 3 games that we would have got there are easier than the Valencia, and then, let's say we... Chelsea, or who's that other team? Hamburg? Not Hamburg. Frankfurt. Yeah, so I don't know. Schwinn, look, I was talking to you boys before we started recording, and I was saying a lot of Arsenal fans see this as a crucial game to make the top 4. However, do you think throughout the season, it was would we draw to Wolves earlier? We drew to Brighton. We lost to, was it Huddersfield away? Look, our away form's been absolutely shocking.
No, we beat Huddersfield away.
That was the one we beat. Yeah.
Did we beat Wolves as well at home?
Nah, we drew against them. I think it was
Drew 1-1.
1-1.
We should have lost about 5-0.
But look, what I'm getting at is, are we blaming these games, these Crystal Palaces and Everton games, that we're going, fuck, this could have been it, boys. Had we beat Everton, had we beat Crystal Palace, they're 6 points ahead. That puts us on, we're on 66 now. That puts us up securing third spot with a bit of a buffer. Or are we thinking, if only we won these fucking away games, we shouldn't be in this situation?
Yeah, I'm definitely in the latter category. I mean, look, obviously there's a turning point in the season that you can look back on with hindsight and say that, okay, if we had won this fixture and, maybe won this one, which seemed easy on paper, we would have had enough points, obviously. That's how math works. But if you had to look at the broader perspective and see where we lacked and where we really need to focus, that's, of course, the away form. And especially games that we should have won away from home very easily, even with a squad like we played yesterday. Forget a full-strength squad, because during a season, you don't have a full-strength squad available all the time. You have injuries, you have rotation because of other commitments. So it's very difficult to field a full-strength squad week in, week out. But for me, the away form is obviously the glaring error. I know it's a very, very tough one to figure out and fix. And that's obviously why Emery quite hasn't figured out why this hangover is still about from last season. But for me, that is definitely the number one priority that I envision him having right now. And to fix that is not going to be easy, because it's so intangible in all its aspects that I hope they have more information and ways to fixing this than I do in my head. And that's the only way we'll be able to fix up any ambitions we have, because having a terrible away form really knocks you out from a lot of, long-term considerations.
Tony, last week you spoke about, and just before we get to some questions, because I'll let you have a say on this as well, you did speak about our away form was down to Lacazette and Aubameyang not scoring goals. If they had scored goals, we win games. Are you in a little bit like me? Had we won these couple of games, these away games, we wouldn't be in this spot now?
I think it's kind of two separate arguments here. Obviously, our away form needs to be better. You can't sit here and say it's acceptable or it's good enough for what we're aiming for. But I think the question you ask is, does it hinge on... Look, the Everton losses, the performance was atrocious, but the loss is semi-acceptable. Was in, you look in their last few games, they've played us, Chelsea, United and Liverpool and haven't conceded. They drew with Liverpool and beat the others. We lost 1-0, Chelsea lost 2-0, United lost 4-0. So not acceptable. A loss is never acceptable, but you can kind of understand going to Everton and losing. For me, yesterday is, especially with our home form and the way that we've just dominated everyone at home, I think if we don't get top four, yesterday is the key game in isolation. Of course, across the whole thing, our away form is the thing you need to fix. You don't need to fix not beating Palace at home, because you're only going to do that once next season. So the whole scheme of things, the away form is the problem. But I think if we don't get top four, yesterday is the reason.
Okay, interesting. Okay, boys, let's get to some questions.
Just quickly, Craig's done his ratings. They've just come out.
Oh, okay. Have you got them in front of you?
Yep. So on clockendtalk.blogspot.com, Craig does his ratings every week, and Lacazette gets man of the match every week. And this week he has not failed. Lacazette and Ozil both got a 7. Mustafi got a 3, and everyone else was there or thereabouts in between. Nothing really to write home about, apart from I think that's the 5,000th week in a row that Lacazette's been man of the match.
Come on, Craig, turn it up, buddy. I've just had a look at. I didn't jump on Who Score, but I jumped on that Foot Mob, and they also do ratings. Don't ask me how they do them or come up with them. They had Aubameyang was man of the match, 7.5. Obviously, Benfica, he was the man of the match, but for Arsenal, Aubameyang 7.5, Lacazette a 7, Ozil a 7.2, fucking Guendouzi 7.4. How the fuck? I'm never fucking using this fucking website again. Foot Mob. Go and fuck yourselves, you cunts. Mustafi 5.7, and they give Leno a 5.3. Wow. How did they come up with that? Okay. What did Craig give Leno just out of interest?
6.5.
Yeah, okay. Okay, foot mob. Don't use that fucking one. Probably similar to Who Scored, I bet you. I bet you Who Scored gave Leno a bloody 5 point something too.
Give me 2
I
secs.
guarantee you.
Loading it now. An interesting podcast. Yes, listen to me browsing on my phone. It's loading. So they gave it to Benteke 8.4. So they get our best player. They had Aubameyang 7.6, Lacazette 7.4, Ozil 7.4, Guendouzi 6.9, Leno 6.7. Our worst player Mustafi at 5.4.
Okay. What was the Leno? 6 point something, wasn't it?
7.
Okay. Was I harsh on Guendouzi, boys? You didn't see that he did much wrong yesterday, am I right?
He never does, but he tries hard. So people want to tell you he's the best player on earth. I remember 6 weeks ago I was laughed at when I said that if 60 million was offered, I'd drive him there. Just remember.
Yeah, that's right. Did I laugh at you? Was it me?
Universal laughter.
Okay, I thought it was me. I was thinking, I'm happy to drive him there too. We are, so Schwinn, you still with us? Been very quiet,
Yeah.
mate. Okay, so at _talk, you can get your questions into us. They go out straight after the game usually. So I think they did last night. I put them out about 3 o'clock in the morning or something stupid. So look, these some of these questions I haven't read them, but they'll obviously reflect on the loss. So sometimes people are angry, and we like that as well as being nice. We are Arsenal. Mustafi out. Any thoughts? There we go, straight up. Look, and I agree. I fucking agree with you, mate. It was, yeah, we've said heaps on that. Brad's, at Original Brad's, Tony playing Monday, Thursday and Sunday clearly affected the lineup. Why would the FA sanction a game being played on Monday when we have your European sway game on Thursday? Second time this has happened this season. Really shitty situation. Did I see that they brought a game forward as well? Was it Leicester game?
Yeah, no, but look, this situation, this is where people just want to find a conspiracy theory that isn't there. There is the same distance between Thursday, Sunday as there is Monday, Thursday. So either way, you're only going to have a 3-day gap. So if we would have played Watford on Sunday last week, then we would have had 4 days before the Napoli game, but we would have only had 3 days pre-Watford. So either way, you're going to get 4 days and 3 days. We're now moaning because we lost, but who's to say that's not the reason we won at Watford, because we had that extra day.
Good point.
But, as I said, it's in a 7-day week. If you split it, you can't split it 3.5 days, so you have to go 4 and 3. So it's the only way it's possible. If we'd have gone Sunday, then we would have just only had 3 days between each game. So it's actually not giving us an extra day, but it's the only way it can happen.
Mm-hmm. Brad's, I think you're in Australia like me, mate. Don't just forget, mate. We're 9 hours in front of these guys, so they actually had another 9 hours break. I was telling Tony, I once had a bloke from the UK ask me for some tips because we're 9 hours in front. Fucking Pommy's dead set. I love our Pommy listeners, but feeding them. Tom, I don't know if this is really a question, Schwinn, but give it a go. My question, do you think there will ever be a boy that can swim faster than a shark?
Wait, what?
I don't know if it's in relation to something or... do you?
I know Tom. I go to games with him.
Okay. Do you think there will ever be a boy that can swim faster than a shark?
Do you expect me to actually answer that?
Well, do you?
Well, do you? Simple question, do you?
Yeah, sure, why not?
I can outswim a shark.
I'm not going to believe that one.
You're not? Come over. I'll take you for a swim with the sharks when you come over.
Are you sure you're inviting me on the record to Australia? Are you sure you want to take up the responsibility?
Mate, absolutely. And but Yeah. But you make sure you bring your wallet though. No fucking tight asses over
fucking
here.
no chance.
I'll show you what Bundy rum is, mate. I'll get you right fucking sorted on that shit. Here you go, Schwinn. Give this one a whirl, mate. MAA Gunner, your number one fan. Why does Mustafi feel the need to... I don't know if this is a question, actually. Why does Mustafi feel the need to be a paralysed mid-game? Surely you'd think he learns from his 9 million mistakes, but he keeps going. Back on top of the transfer list. So he's not. He's frustration.
Do you remember earlier in the season when Mustafi had a dig at Wenger saying, it's much easier now that I have a manager telling me what to do and what I'm good at and what I need to improve on. And everyone jumped on it, saying, how bad it made that Wenger must have been a shit coach.
Fair dinkum. I don't remember that, no. But actually,
it was only someone retweeted it yesterday. It was in the newspapers, and then when they retweeted it, I remember everyone talking about it because Mustafi had a good game, maybe, or maybe two in a row, and everyone was like, "Oh yeah, that's it. He's improved. He's had proper coaching." And he came out and had a little dig at Wenger. "Oh yeah, I didn't know what to do under him." So apparently, he needs to be told to not be a complete cunt and just let their players run through one-on-one. And Emery didn't do that yesterday, so it's everyone else's fault again. It's never Mustafi's fault. It's everyone else's fault. Basically, a scouser.
Yeah, that's Mustafi. I'm just thinking of that though. Emery, he coached at obviously Valencia. Was Mustafi there at that time?
I'm not sure. I was just thinking that. By the way, that wasn't a dig at Emery.
Oh, okay, that's your talk, and I was thinking Emery. I'm thinking, I wonder whether that was a dig at Emery.
I know he come out earlier in the season and he said, it's good to have Emery here because he tells me what I'm doing wrong and where I need to improve. It's difficult to play well when your manager doesn't tell you. He didn't actually mention Wenger, but when you say, it's difficult to play well when your manager doesn't tell you what to do, it was obviously a swipe at him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, apparently Emery pre-game, every game, needs to tell Mustafi to not be a complete fuckwit.
Sushant, here we go. We'll try and get something here for you, Schwinn. Do you think if Holding was fit or Chambers not on loan, this right now, boys, I'm hating Chambers on loan. I really am. I think it was a dumb move. But anyway, Chambers not on loan, we would have played Mustafi so much. We defend in cowardly manner. Shry for harsh language. He's trying not to say fuck or cunt yet. But nothing explains the second goal we conceded, Schwinn.
It's tough to say whether Chambers would have made the cut, but I'm pretty sure Holding would have. But I mean, the way we started, I think a better argument would be that Holding would have started for Dinos and not for Mustafi. That is assuming that we would still have fielded a back three. Chambers is a tough one because, I mean, he's played in midfield for most of the time at Fulham. So,
has he?
More recently he has for sure. Definitely under Scott Parker. Even Ranieri, I think, fancied him in the middle of the park than in central defense. So I'm not quite sure whether Emery sees eye to eye with those two managers in that regard. So it's tough for me to opine there. But I mean, it just seems so obvious to me that Mustafi is the problem on so many fronts. I mean, we've spoken about his qualitative issues, right? His lapses in concentration and so on and so forth. But looking at the age profile of our central defenders, he's the only one who's sort of in between the young central defenders and the aging ones, and that's a proper worry for me. That's the age group that you build your long-term future based on, and Mustafi is by no means that player. Particularly because of his lapses in concentration. You could very well argue that physically and in terms of attributes, he could become a good player. But he makes so many mistakes that it's just unavoidable to get rid of him. So for me, it's him the issue and not as necessarily someone that we should be looking at internally and definitely looking at options externally.
I don't want to go on about that I told you so or I'm right, but at the start of the season, I said Lichtsteiner, I thought it was a dumb signing, right? Okay, look, I got that right. I said it was a dumb signing, and it's shown that he is. Now, do you think, boys, and Tony, I'll go to you first. Do you think Emery actually done his research on Lichtsteiner and his research on Chambers to send him out on loan? And would you prefer Chambers over Lichtsteiner?
Look, I don't know if he signed Lichtsteiner, to be honest. I don't know if he overly signed anyone. So I'm not going to dig him out for not doing his research when it's not his job. The Chambers one is interesting because I'm assuming that the head coach would have final say. And at that point, he would have assumed that Lichtsteiner was going to be ahead of him. It's easy to sit here now and say, look, I prefer Chambers over El Neni. I'd prefer him over Lichtsteiner. I'd prefer him over Jenko. It's easy to sit in now and say that. At the time, was anyone really pissed off when Chambers got loaned out? Probably not. And I think it's probably fairer to go on what we were thinking at the time rather than sit here now saying that decision was wrong, that decision was wrong. Because as Schwinn always says, vision's 20/20 in hindsight.
No, fair call. I did say that Lichtsteiner was shit, though. I didn't, but I don't remember Chambers.
Yeah, no one. I don't remember them saying we've loaned Chambers out and everyone going fucking mental about it.
Yeah, no,
I think it was like, whatever.
Yeah, I can't claim that one. Vish says I should have watched V for Vendetta instead of the game. If we are offered a bag of weed and a bottle of tequila, would you accept it in exchange for Mustafi and El Neni? How are we to get to the top four with these pathetic players in the squad? Vish says, did we have poor performance, or is this our fragile mentality rearing its ugly head up again? Twice now we pass up the chances for top four by choking at critical moments. Bottlers FC. Guess we is just as pathetic as Spurs in that department. If you boys
did someone say a bag of weed? That's all I heard.
Somebody said. Vish said this response is definitely in anger to our loss, and mate, absolutely, and this is why we like this. He's saying in 2013 we handed the title to Leicester, and numerous other times this season past. Very angry. MAA Gunner Mustafi fuckery completely changed the swing of the game. Imagine him sharing a cell with a bunch of Arsenal fans. Why don't I just picture Mustafi picking up the soap? Kurnos, why does Emery keep gambling with average players? I like my manager to take risks, but when we rotate, we just don't have the same situation. Look, and I'm going to say, I just don't think we've got the depth of players there. Like, when you're looking at Guendouzi and El Neni as your backup midfielders, I think that there lies the problem. Okay, look, we probably needed rotation. Like, if Granit's out and Torreira, I don't know. Why didn't he play Torreira? He only played 20 minutes against Napoli, didn't he?
No, he played. He came off, didn't he?
Yeah, he came off. He might have played 60, did he?
Roughly.
Yeah. But, so, I don't understand why Torreira wasn't there at the start over El Neni. I just don't think Guendouzi's up to scratch, I'm sorry. So I think we've got a big problem coming to summer, boys, with depth. And
it's not as if we're losing the best one of them either.
El Neni.
Well, no, Ramsey's not good enough for us, is
Ramsey,
he? So,
yeah. Sorry, and we're losing Ramsey too. Ramsey. MAA Gunner, a rare match where we lose miserably, but Ozil was actually one of our better players. Vish says the ref was almost as bad as our performance. Our performance was almost as bad as the ref. Would you give Valencia 15 million plus Mustafi and ask for Gabriel back? Boys, yes or no?
Nope.
No, I think. Do you know? I've said it a few times. Players get better when they're not there, when they're injured. Like, everyone's constantly calling Xhaka a cunt, and then when he's not playing, you're like, oh, we miss Xhaka. I think Gabriel's probably pretty similar situation, that because he's not there and we're losing, it's like, oh, Gabriel, when he was here, Fucking everyone was slating him every week as well.
Yeah, he's copping it. MAA Gunner, we can't really criticise Janko and El Nani because we know what we're getting. It's very true. Emery should take the shots nice. He knew from before that the midfield was weak and dysfunctional, but didn't try to adjust.
100%.
Mkhitaryan, though, what was his problem? Just saving him for another rainy day or what?
Basically.
Or Dennis Suarez. Where the fuck is Dennis Suarez?
Where's that played?
No fucking idea. In fact, I forgot about him completely as well, and I was watching the game with a few mates, and they said to me after the game that, where has he been? Has he been injured? Because, I mean, of course, if you're not an Arsenal fan, you probably are not keeping tabs on signings that we made in January who have not featured at all. And I found myself scratching my head to actually think whether he's injured, because I think the last time he played was, in Dubai? And before that, United. But we've maybe not even seen 120 minutes of Dennis Suarez so far this season. And I still cannot understand why we brought him in. Like, what was the thinking of bringing him in?
Don't know. And it seemed to go on forever, the negotiations, didn't it? Oh, we really want him. I don't know. Just, look, and he's got to be better than an El Neni, for fuck's sake. Surely.
I think it's just a matter of different positions. Maybe that's what...
Mate, I'd put Suarez in before El Neni. That's how bad I rate him.
Central midfield, though, I don't know.
Oh, absolutely. It can't be any worse than El Neni, can you?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, I'm probably saying that after the game, though, so probably I wouldn't have thought of that before, to be honest.
There's a lot worse than 3-2, 4-2, 5-2, 6-2, It goes on forever.
Yeah. Mustafi was solid in his first run of games at Arsenal. Then he got injured and I didn't know who treated him. But they've created a walking disaster. Do you think we could get 25 million for him and trigger outer wheels clause? MAA Gun.
I don't think you'd get 25 million for him. And Alderweireld's clause is Champions League only, I believe. Which...
top four. That relies us on top four.
Or we win in Europa League.
Are you not confident we're going to get top four now in the Premier League?
No.
Okay.
But that could change. If we beat Wolves on Wednesday, then it changes to a yes.
Yeah. It's game by game, it is. I agree. It is game by game at the moment.
Well, it's no longer in our hands either.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? How come?
Chelsea carry on winning, they finish above us.
No, I don't think they do. If we win the same amount of games as Chelsea, we still beat them on goal differences.
Yeah, what's that at the moment?
Oh, yeah, good point. I don't know. I'll read the next question. We'll have a look. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang Golden Boot. It's clear Mustafi's level is possibly the Albanian League or Bundesliga 2 in English. Whilst Wenger did wonders at the club, can we admit he signed Menti dud centre-backs? Yeah, I have to agree with that. I was at
just to destroy the narrative, but we do have a question on it later on.
Yeah,
Wenger didn't sign him.
Stats DNA, wasn't it?
And Wenger didn't want to sign him from that. He wanted Manolas, but because Manolas was still in Greece at the time, Gazidis didn't want to take a chance on an unknown player when there was a World Cup winner available.
Even I think Lucas Perez was one of the ones that was picked up in the same time as Mustafi and was another Stats DNA failure.
And El Neni.
Yeah.
Shitty
Well,
that was.
yeah, don't let that get in the way of any narrative.
Okay. I was at the game and thought the atmosphere was decent. Can we end this notion that we don't sing at home? Tony, you're the best fan. And that's Perry Aubameyang Golden Boot.
It's just very hit and miss. I've been in the Emirates when it's been really loud. I think that traditionally football was the fans become the 12th man. That was always the saying. Now, I think at most clubs, and this isn't an Arsenal thing, obviously I've been to every ground except Wolves, which will change on Wednesday. I think now, at the vast majority of grounds, the players need to give the fans a reason to be the 12th man. Whereas traditionally, the way everyone thinks of football is the fans are the 12th man from the start, and you're given that voice. Now, the team need to do something for you to get behind them. Or even sometimes that can be going 1-0 down and you feel like, you need to push them on. That's where it's different. So sometimes if we're winning 1-2-0, sometimes it is really quiet. Because, I don't know, if there's nothing to get behind. You know what I mean? The game's done. Like, say that Napoli game the other day, if that would have been at home, I'm not sure what the atmosphere was like away, to be honest. But if that would have been at home, I can tell you it would have been silent. Because the game was done after half hour because we're 3-0 up on aggregate. And there's just sort of nothing really to get behind. I'm not saying that's the way it should be, but it's the way it is. So, yeah, the atmosphere at the Emirates is sometimes very underrated, but it can also be silent. And obviously when people are trying to detract from you, they're only going to detract from your worst points, not your best.
I just looked at that on the goal differences. Yeah, you're right. Shit your pants, boys, because Chelsea 21, Arsenal 25. There's only 4 goals difference in that. And that is a possibility, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I think apart from United, they've got quite easy games, so you expect them to wrap up.
Touch wood, but if we get smashed by Wolves 3-0.
Well, no, that doesn't matter. We'd need to win. As I said, the 4-goal difference is if everyone wins all their games. But you look at our games, and they're games you win by 1, probably, if you do win them. Whereas I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure reading, apart from United, they've not really got to play anyone. So they're the games you win by 2 or 3.
Yeah, they've got Burnley, United, Watford, Leicester.
They've got quite similar fixtures. We got Burnley and Leicester, but I think they've got them the other way around. I mean, they've got Burnley at home tonight, I think, and then
Burnley at home, Watford at home, Leicester away.
Yeah, same as us, Leicester away.
Where do I get up to? Can Guendouzi and El Neni only work in a midfield 3? In a 2, I feel they get overrun and lack creativity, Schwinn.
Yeah, 100%. I don't think they can sustain themselves in a midfield 2. I mean, even a midfield 3, even if you throw a Ramsey in there or Granit or Torreira, whoever is available, right? I don't think it's still strong enough in terms of overall balance. And it's where El Neni and Guendouzi's lackings sort of shine through. You can see the ill discipline, you can see the inexperience. And in El Neni's terms, you can see the safe and secure nature of his general play. So for me, it's only in a 3, and ideally, you only have one of them playing. And for me, that'd be Guendouzi, not El Neni.
Tony Shree says, how many of the injuries were sustained now result of Emery not resting players in the early part of the season?
It's tough to say. I mean, if you look at who's out injured at the moment, Ramsey didn't play earlier in the season, so you can't put that on Emery. Granit played a lot of minutes, but he always plays a lot of minutes. He seems to be very durable. He actually got injured on international duty. And, I mean, he played 90 at Watford and, 60 the other day. So how injured he is, I guess we don't really know. Who else is out injured? I can't think.
Ramsey, Granit, Holding.
But again, that's a freak injury. You can't. Bellerin and Holdings, you can't go at. Yeah, but they're nothing to do with being overplayed. So I don't. The only, off the top of my head, there may be something that we're missing, but off the top of my head, the only, again, Welbeck can't be down to overplayed because he never fucking plays.
Oh, Welbeck's the one, yeah.
So the only one that could possibly be down to being overplayed is Granit, and he does that every season. He's probably played less this season than he has in other seasons. So
last season he played a shitload of games. So.
Yeah, so I don't think any of this is down to being overplayed. My opinion.
Granit? Didn't he pick up that injury in the international break? I'm just trying to remember.
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah, that's what you said.
Yeah. Why'd you just say that?
Yeah.
I'm listening to Schwinn's background noise there, thinking, "Fuck me, Dad, what's this bloke doing?"
Nope, it's nothing to do with me. It's just you being Mustafi and losing your concentration.
Get fucked, cunt. By the way, everyone, this is Schwinn's last podcast. So. MAA Gunner says, Schwinn, as it stands, we need a goalkeeper, a right back, a left back, a centre mid, a striker, a right winger and a left winger. Extending Welbeck's contract and bringing Ospina back means we don't need to spend on those two positions. Buying a right back also means Maitland-Niles can be the centre mid. Also, you could buy a winger that can play up front and score goals. You get all that? Good question.
Yeah, I mean, that's 7 positions, and it's hard to argue with him. I think we need a lot of depth, to your point. As you mentioned earlier, Tez, there's a lot wrong with the squad, especially if we want to continue playing a certain way that Emery is quite hell-bent on. Then he needs quite a few fresh faces around the squad, and he needs to get rid of a lot of players. Look, we have solutions internally. I don't know about Ospina's situation. I'm not sure whether his contract runs out or not. But Welbeck's does, and we've spoken about it several times in the show that we need to give him another contract and keep him around because there's no one better for that sort of price and for the sort of role we want him to play. But, I mean, I don't see us signing more than 4 players. I think that's a tall order to overcome. And which positions does Emery choose from these 7? It's going to be an interesting summer. I really don't know which one to go after. I mean, I don't think we need a striker. I think that's the only one that I'd argue we don't need from the ones that MAA Gunner has mentioned. But other than that, we do have some, gaping holes in the squad that need to be fulfilled.
I think if we don't keep Welbeck, we do need a striker, to be fair.
What's that?
I agree.
I think if we don't keep Welbeck, we need a rotational striker because at the moment we can't, Eddie's never, I know he was on the bench yesterday, he's never going to come on. So it's just, we can't change anything. It's like, well, these two are starting the game, and if it doesn't work, we're just going to carry on with it not working because we've got nothing else.
That's true, but I mean, I guess the assumption there is that we see Lacazette and Aubameyang start week in, week out, which I don't think will be plan A next season.
No, but it's not going to happen week in, week out. But you still need like yesterday. Look, they've both played on the pitch, even if it's Aubameyang on the left, often enough for you to need. So you can't get. It's not getting by the season with 2 top class strikers. It's getting by the season with only 2 strikers total because he is not going to use Eddie.
Yeah, no, that's right. We need depth. We need depth, big time. And look, even if we're in Champions League, I look at our squad and I think, are we a Champions League? Look, I want to be there, but as this team goes to the Champions League, are we a Champions League team? I don't think we are at the moment.
Yeah, I don't want to shit on
everybody. I don't want to shit on everybody. I just think we definitely need decent depth. I just looked at Ospina's because I was pretty sure I read this earlier, but Ospina is an option to buy. I'm not sure what it is, but I'd imagine he stays at Napoli.
I'd be very surprised if he doesn't.
Yeah, so I would nearly think a goalkeeper is crucial as well. Tony, you can talk about Sky Sports here. Sky Sports are ridiculously biased towards the top 6 Premier League clubs. More often than not, the whole thing feels like a Liverpool and Man United channel. Very little credit even given to those that play said top clubs off the park. Same 5 faces week in, week out.
Look, they're a business and they're going to do what works for them. The top 6 bring in the most viewers, so they're going to target their program in that way. If you run a shop and you've got a product that sells really well, that's the product you go with if that's what's making all your profit. I mean, it has been, especially with Carragher. I don't like Carragher. It has been like Liverpool TV for the last month, probably. I really like Gary Neville as a pundit, to be honest, so I can't really dig him out too much. And I don't think it's a top 6 thing, because I don't think Arsenal get great representation on Sky Sports. I don't think City get any, maybe it's because they don't really have any club legends. They have legends from 60, 70 years ago, but not in the last 20 years. So they can't wheel out ex-players, because otherwise you're wheeling out fucking Paul Dickoff and Sean Goer, and let's be honest, and people ain't going to know who they are. So I think it's a very heavily Liverpool and United, not biased, but in terms of their staff, there's more Liverpool and United. But as I said, I find Gary Neville pretty neutral. It's just Carragher that does my head in.
Well, this will be you for the next question as well. MAA Gunner, he's asking for the best and worst pundits and your opinion on who deserves to be a pundit. The average fan has a better understanding of their club than an ex-player who doesn't watch that club every week.
See, this for me depends on what sort of pundit you're talking about, because Gary Neville, the reason I like him is he provides more insight to what it's like on the pitch and how you play that position. And he's hypercritical of players because he's been there, done it all, and he knows what it takes. So yes, Arsenal fans will know more about Arsenal than Gary Neville probably, or the majority of us. But they're not going to get people in just to solely talk about one thing. And I really like the way Neville goes about things. So if you're talking about that level of pundit, I would prefer a top-class ex-player that can talk you through why things are happening on the pitch, or what a certain situation is, or how things are in the dressing room. Because let's be honest, as fans, that's something we'll never know. If you're talking about, say, like Gillette Soccer Saturday, which is like a score show, they watch all the games and they tell you about the goals coming in while you can't see them. That's because we have that 3 o'clock embargo. In that case, then yeah, you probably want someone with more knowledge, because you can't see the game. They're not talking to you about what's going on. They're literally just telling you what's happening. But then I don't class them as pundits. I don't know what I class them as, but I don't class them as pundits.
Okay. No point, man, you talking, Schwinn, about the pundits.
Well, I mean, you have pundits wherever you are, so it's not... I don't think this is just a UK-based question.
Yeah, look, I don't mind, what's his name? Fucked if I remember the bloke's name. This is why I was skipping past this. He played for Man United. Goalkeeper. What's his fucking name?
Bosnich.
Peter Schmeichel.
Yeah. He's good as well. And we got them 2 goals. Yeah, and Bozo. So yeah, look, they're all right. I listen to what they say, but they talk about the positions more than the actual team. Like they won't discuss, how Fulham's going, for example, or something. They'll talk about that mistake that the Fulham goalkeeper made, or Leno, for example. So they type of go to them on them situations. So it's good to get their perspectives, I suppose. I don't know what you got, Schwinn.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen football in a lot of different countries, so I've had the opportunity of listening to a very vast number of PL broadcasters, commentators, and even pundits. What I really like about the regular PL feed that I got in South Africa, or even India, for example, is how they have a rotating panel. And I think that's what the question is sort of speaking about, that it's the same faces week in, week out. I suffered from the same thing in America, because you have Robbie Earle coming on, and another Robbie who played for Middlesbrough back in the day. And I feel when it gets monotonous because of the same panel, they sort of build upon their opinion instead of looking at each game from an isolated perspective, and that sort of clouds their own judgment and hence doesn't provide for great content. The PL feed does very well to bring in, Schmeichel, Ian Wright, Alan Kirbishley, and Alan Shearer. I mean, the likes, everyone that you can think of that is a pundit appears on the PL feed, and I think that provides a great, refreshing view at looking at these games. I don't watch a lot of pre-game and post-game action, but whenever I have on the PL feed, I've always been left satisfied with the diversity in opinion. So I can see why MAA Gunner is pissed off with the same faces, because I faced the same thing in America and it was an absolute pain.
Okay.
I think with that, it depends who them same faces are.
Of course, but I think at some point you will start disagreeing with people. That's just the nature of the sport. And it's very, very seldom do we see people changing their opinions. I don't know why that is so taboo, whether you're a politician or you're someone who's opining on different matters. Changing your opinion for some reason is not at all that people do quite often. I mean, I'm happy to do it week in, week out. If I'm proven wrong, I'll happily admit that. But
we know.
but it just seems like people on the telly aren't, and I think that really takes away from a lot of fixed panels, if you will. It's one of the reasons that we are going to be rotating soon, isn't it?
No, you've been sacked.
Oh, mate, you can't live up to your contract, mate. That's the end of the day for you.
You're working your notice. That's like fucking, I don't know, who have we like just completely bombed off and dropped them completely, and they're saying, they're being rotated. Yeah, he's not being rotated.
Okay, I pumped through these. They're not really questions, but if you've got anything to add on it. Hakon Larsson, why do we look so shaky passing out from the back? Is it because the players didn't trust Guendouzi or El Neni? We were shocking bad at general passing and keep the ball. Thoughts on that?
I think that them two occupy the same space so often that you're cutting down your options. Instead of having, if they're split, you have two options. You can pass to Guendouzi or El Neni. Whereas they're so close that they're often, they can be stopped by one player, because if one player's marking one of them, the other one's so close that he can do both. And I think that limits your passing lanes, limits your passing options, which makes it a lot harder to play out from the back. And they also don't trust Jenko with the ball for good reason. So you're playing wing backs, one of whom is Kolasinac, who's going to be 70 yards away from where he should be, and the other one they don't want to give the ball to. So then you've got your three centre backs who are passing the ball between them. They can't go wide either side. Their two options in the middle is now one option, and it's probably being marked. So then it makes things very difficult.
You remember being at school and you're in your teams and you'd be thinking, fuck, there's Sunil Nani over there, don't pass the ball to that cunt. There's a Mustafi there, don't pass. You reckon they say that, or they're a bit more professional than what we were at school?
No, there's players they definitely don't give the ball in certain situations.
I reckon El Neni and fucking Guendouzi be them too. And they'd be all shitting themselves at Mustafi at the back. 12 hours after the game, Hakon Larsson says, and that question was from Hakon Larsson as well. 12 hours after the game, and I'm still mad. Shocking. Our defending cost us the game. That's a fact. Offensively, we could do better, a lot better as well, but all the players need to have a look at themselves. Hard to disagree, buddy. And Vish, for the last question, says, was Mustafi a Wenger signing or a Stats DNA signing? Which we answered earlier. He was a Stats DNA signing, Tony.
Yeah, I think in the last few years of Wenger, I mean, we're not sure about Aubameyang. Lacazette was his signing, and I think pretty much everyone else, off the top of my head, was Stats DNA.
Okay, now let's go to Wolves game. Just in, what's that, 3 days' time?
2
days. Okay.
Well,
3 for me.
2 hours, 2 days and 8 hours. So that's probably 8 days in Australia.
We're so far in advance and so far ahead over here, it just blows my mind.
Are you trying to convince us or yourself? Because it's a pity attempt.
I didn't even know you guys had internet yet.
Cunts. Tony, what's your predicted lineup for this game?
I don't know about the fitness of Granit, which obviously is going to play a huge part. Do back four. I don't know, it's difficult because they'll play a back five and I think he'll want to match them up. Tough one. I think he'll go back five just to match them up. I think not lineup. Sorry, shape the same as yesterday, but I think all the players you'd expect to come back in. So Socrates is back. So the back five that we played at Napoli. The midfield two will be Torreira and hopefully Xhaka. The next one's the big. It's exactly the same questions I had against Napoli. Do we go two behind one, and is it Iwobi, Mickey, and Ozil? Two of them, three behind one of Aubameyang and Lacazette, or do we go one behind two? I couldn't really answer it before the Napoli game, and I'm struggling to answer it now, to be honest. I personally would go two up top. I would go the same we did at Napoli, but with Mickey for Ramsey, which was obviously the sub we made when Ramsey got injured. So look at our team half hour in against Napoli, and that would be my team.
I just have a look at Wolves because I've watched a couple of the games, but not many throughout the season. They played a 3-5-2 against Man United.
They always play a back five.
They always play back five, do they? There you go. Okay. Schwinn, your thoughts on the lineup?
I think we'll go for a back five as well. Just as Tony said, the same back five as Napoli. Again, granted, if fit, we'll start alongside Torreira. If not, then Guendouzi takes a position up there. In terms of the front three, I think we're going to go for like a flat three, give us some more width. So Aubameyang on the right, it will be on the left, and Lacazette central.
Okay. Prediction, Schwinn?
Wolves win 2-0.
Oh, fuck, man. Oh, you're a fucking Debbie Downer.
I've always said we're not going to finish top four. I've always said it. We're not good enough. And this is away.
I'm not going to give you a predicted lineup because I wouldn't have a fucking clue what he's going to do. If Granit is fit, he obviously starts. Torreira obviously starts for me. I don't know. Do you think he'll start Ozil?
Nope. I think Ozil has a higher chance of starting than Mkhitaryan.
Yeah, I was going to say Mkhitaryan or Ozil. Who do you go there? Lacazette, Aubameyang. Does one of them guys get a rest?
Not for me.
I think he goes the same as Napoli. Because you got to remember as well, he's going to get absolutely crucified if we're coming off probably our best away performance of the season, and if he changes it and we lose. If he plays the same and he loses, it's like, oh, well, it worked at Napoli. I had no reason to think it wouldn't work again.
Well, that'd give Aubameyang 4 in a row in, 10 days? Is that right?
Not 10,
Monday,
right?
Maybe a bit more than 10. Wouldn't be far from 10, though.
Yeah, 12, I'm guessing. 3 on an average.
So I can't see him starting Aubameyang because surely if Aubameyang comes out and look, touch wood, but if Aubameyang gets injured, that's a real fucking. That's got to be down to fatigue. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, boys, I'm going to go opposite you, Schwinn. I'm going to say a 2-0 win. Only because I'm trying to be confident, mate. I have to be confident, but I am hearing you as well. But yeah, anyway. Okay, boys, we will be back after that game, hopefully with some good news, with a victory. Do you want to just touch quickly before we go, your chances, I just wanted to ask you, so Chelsea, they're obviously thereabouts. Are we ruling out Man United now?
United have got Chelsea next week, so that finishes United. Well, look, United have got City midweek as well. Yeah, I'm ruling United out. I think that loss yesterday finished them.
Okay. And so it's between us and Chelsea for that 4th position there. Everton can't get there. No, they're on 49. They're definitely too far away. Okay, boys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you again, Tony.
Cheers.
Thank you, Schwinn.
No worries.
And I hope everybody has left here in a better mood than they started, and I hope that we've managed to break this game down.
No chance. No chance at all. I've just predicted a 2-0 loss coming up at Wolves. I don't think anyone's happier than they were when they started.
That's why we're sacking you.
Can't have this shit going on every fucking week. We're already down the dumps, and you want to bring us 2-0 loss.
Just for the record, for everyone listening, I've not been sacked. I'm leaving on my own terms. And I know that doesn't help my case, but still, you should know that.
Do you know when a manager gets sacked and it gets reported as mutual agreement? We mutually agreed that Schwinn should be sacked.
Mutual agreement. Actually, just on that too, we have had, and I've mentioned it, I think, last podcast, we have had heaps and heaps of people interested. However, look, I haven't made a decision. We'll rotate people, we'll do things, we'll test people out. However, Craig and Joe, look, they've been looking after, Craig's been looking after the, what do you call that thing? Blog, website. So it's probably unfair not to have him on a fair bit. So he's put his hand up as well, and Joe is also put his hand up as well. So them boys will, when they're available, they'll jump on, and then we'll have a little look through the list, and we'll rotate others as well. So. And thank you for everybody for putting your hand up, and it's muchly appreciated. But anyway, boys, thank you again. Thank you, everybody, for listening. You can follow us at _talk. You can follow us on Spotify, YouTube, all good podcast apps. And we will be back next week, or 4 days, or whatever it is, 2 days. Thank you. Good night. See you, lads.